Hey guys, how's it going? Hey Broadway Joe. I could try knocking it down. In the kind of like in the aggregate, in the long run, will actually make a big difference as well. Hey Broadway Joe. Broadway Joe saying, hey Scott, what is the difference between bebop and hard bop? Miles has a version of Green Dolphin on All Blues just released. My book says Tune Up was his first hard bop tune. Green Dolphin is a hard bop tune as well, I guess. So what's the deal? What is the deal? Let's have a look. Hard bop. I thought it was like an era thing, but let's see. Okay, so to return, bebop was complex and undanceable and therefore unpopular. So hard bop moved back in the other direction. It used simpler melodies that were easier to sing, a slower tempo, a strong backbeat, a solid bluesier groove, all of which made it very danceable, thus popularized jazz again. That's what it says there. Let's see. Here's another one. Though some folk in the black community did dance to bebop, it was largely a listening intellectual music. Hard bop followed around 1954, and unlike the complex melodies and contrapuntal structures of cool jazz, hard bop featured tight unison melodies and a rock-solid rhythm section. So it sounds like hard bop came after bebop and was actually to a... Yeah, hard bop is sometimes referred to as funky hard bop. The funky label refers to the rocking, rhythmic feeling associated with this style. So it's, yeah, it was a move to make it more popular. There you go. You learned something and I learned something. Stephen's saying, hey Stephen, what's your experience playing chords on a fretless? I found it very difficult to hit the strings, the right tones while playing. Is it worth putting the effort in, or is it better to play chords on fretted bass instead? You can definitely play chords on a fretless bass, but you've got to be much more careful, for sure. But Gary Willis does a great job of it. Playing that, you could play. But what I would say, two notes, the C and the B flat on top, okay, or C and an E flat on top there instead of... I find it harder playing denser chords, so like a string or two strings apart, I find easier to hold in tune on a fretless, but it definitely can be done. And NFB saying, nice question, Stephen. I'm in the same boat as I often play a lot of fretless. Yeah, Stephen, Broadway Joe saying, yes, Stephen, it's really worth the time to get at least double stops down. Yeah, and you can do that like thirds, you know, so like... Yeah. So thirds and sixths are cool as well to play, for sure. Cheers for that as well, Joe. Lara saying, I'm dying to hear you play that Rickenbacker. I think the truss rod needs altered on it. Joe saying, I've been spending checking out Paul Chambers, Ray Brown, Eddie Gomez. Paul Chambers plays short notes, Ray Brown plays them very long, and Eddie Gomez seems to be somewhere in between. How long or short should my notes be while walking? I guess it depends on the vibe that you're going for, Joe, but like my kind of like, where I go personally is almost to get the notes to really mold into that, like almost kind of like melt into the next note, you know. Yeah, I'm trying to really get them to mold into each of the notes. So stylistically, I think that all of those players, Paul Chambers, Ray Brown, Eddie Gomez, coming from different places. But I think that you're doing exactly the right thing. You're asking the right questions. I guess it would, for me, what does it feel like in the situation when you're playing with different people and maybe customizing your approach and accommodating the individual situation you're in. I wonder if all of these, players played, like Ray Brown. For me, when I think about walking bass, I think about Ray Brown. That's maybe why I think about these long notes. Yeah, it's interesting, right? So I guess that, I haven't got any real answer for you, but just my insight is that soloing. No. So I definitely use a lot of chord tones, and the way I think about it is chord tones first. I think that chord tones and then the extensions on top, but they all become part of the chord. That is it's a rabbit hole to go down. Broadway saying, when descending, you said to add the raised fifth on the major scale. I play the major 7, the flat 7. Yes, you can do that for sure. Yeah. I guess it depends, right? It puts the tension note in a different place of the bar. I like both. Yours sounds more bluesy. Mine? Bit more jazzy. But you can use both, right? But I was using both. That was yours? So you can use both for sure. But it just puts... The one that I use where it's a raised fifth means that the tension note, the chromatic note, is before the downbeat. So a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. The tension note is on the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Whereas the tension note, if I'm using the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So there's like a natural 13 or 6 on the 4. So it's less tension on the 4. I guess that's what it is. There's less tension on the 4. Oh, thanks, J3. Says you're my favourite bass player. Cheers, man. Thanks a lot. Right, I'm going to... Broadway Justin, if you use both flat 7 and sharp 5, is it still a bebop scale? I don't really think about bebop scales, Joe. But no, I think it would... You need to resolve on that 4, don't you? I don't think about it as in bebop scales, even though I may be playing them, I'm not sure. But what I do like is using the flat 7 and the natural 7 on the way up and the sharp 5 on the way down. This would sound like this. Again, flat 7 on the way up. Sharp 5 on the way down. Because that way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You're getting that tension. Yeah, I love it. So you don't need to stress too much about that. Yeah, Joe's saying, flat 7 way up, sharp 5 going down. Sounds killer, doesn't it, Joe? And that's great for walking bass lines as well. Joe saying, I'd emailed Simon King to ask for the stems for the tunes. Is there a way to get them? I need them to shape my practice environment. Gary Willis says it's important. Put and trade in fours in the arrangement. Put and trade in. Leave it with me, Joe, actually. Let me see if I can... Simon emailed me today, actually, so I can see if I can get the stems for those. Leave it with me. He should still have them. I'll ask him. I'll ask him. And we've got your email anyway. That's cool. But anyway, I'm getting to the one. I'm getting to my favourite. Look at this beast. Oh. Do any of you know what this is? I bet Joe knows what this is. It just sounds so good. It's a beast. Anyway, guys, it's been wicked. I've really enjoyed hanging out with you over the last few months, and just to take it back to what I was saying earlier, it's really important that you try and get out and play this stuff with other musicians as well in your area, because that's where you'll have a real boost in your ability on the jazz, on the bass, like Gary Willis and John Patitucci, and I've got courses on jazz in there. But we've also got these really fantastic learning pathways that we've introduced. There's a whole learning pathway about walking bass, which is really great. I'm really proud of it, where I teach you this whole walking bass system. And then we've also got something called Player's Path as well, which is really phenomenal. And in my opinion, is something that everybody should be using to enhance the way that they learn bass. And it's essentially, in a nutshell, like the belt system for karate moved to bass. So if you're from the UK, it's very like the grade. The ideology of it is like the grade system, but done in a way that's really maximized for bass players. And we've designed the system from the ground up. All of the pieces are actually custom composed for that very thing. So definitely check out Player's Path if you haven't already. And that's all inside the membership as well. Now, with that saying, take it easy. I'm going to put my coat on, go outside, and freeze my ass off. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you in a bit. Bye.